finally get to the trial. This has been quite a harrowing experience for everybody that's watched the show, especially from day one. And just to watch your character develop over the years has been an amazing evolution. Do you feel that?
Thank you so much for saying that. Absolutely. Going back to season one, my character was Alicia's main competitor for one job, and there was a very real chance that I would have been done with the show. And now we're in a place where in season 6, over 100 episodes later, this character is going through quite a journey just in this season alone. In episode 1, he's put in jail, and we followed the ensuing case for the course of 9, 10, 11, 12 episodes, 13 episodes this season, which is different for the show. Usually we follow one case per episode, but this season this show has been more serialized, and as you mentioned, it's coming to an head this Sunday in an episode called The Trial, and it's the trial that has to do with the case that we've been following, and the audience has been invested in terms of what's going to happen with Cary.
Losing Will as a character, that to me has opened up a lot of other storylines. I don't know that this one could have happened with him still in the series. Is that an accurate statement?
I think that every season is different, and every season changes, and it's grown since season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They're all different. The characters always grow and change, and whether guest stars coming in or out, or new regulars coming in or out. So I think it's always been growing and changing, and certainly that season 5 was a huge moment and a huge changer for the show, and really kind of reinvigorated the show in terms of that whole season 5 with the splitting of the firms, and then of course with the shocking aspect of Will Gardner. And yeah, so to answer your question, in a lot of ways, all the seasons are different. All the characters grow and change, and I think that's why we've been fortunate to be around for 6 seasons. But at the same time, yeah, that particular character going away opens up new storylines in terms of the firms, in terms of the relationships between all these characters, and one of those has to do with my character and the storyline that I've had this year.
You've gotten a bigger piece of the action, and the scenes between you and Bishop, you have the vulnerability, but yet the strength, and you kind of vacillate between the two in the character.
Thank you.
He's a scary dude.
Well, thank you for saying that. And, when I was going back to the first episode of season 6, when my character was jailed, I, was doing some research in terms of trying to feel what real prisoners go through and experience, and watched a show called Locked Up that follows real prisoners, and found a blog on that was written by a real prisoner, and I just kept finding this vulnerability, this loss of dignity of having your clothes stripped off your back, this paranoia in terms of maybe getting beat up at any second. And so all those kind of emotional aspects I've tried to bring in some sort of realism and believability where the audience feels like these stories are truly happening. And specifically with the character you just mentioned, Lamont Bishop, he's the biggest drug dealer in all of Chicago. And last Sunday's episode, Cary heard a wiretap that character Bishop was threatening his life, and it's a very real and organic thing that is possible, at least in our world of The Good Wife, because Cary is a real threat to maybe flip on Bishop. Otherwise, he's going to be in jail for 15 years. So we're going to see that relationship between Bishop and Cary and Bishop and Colinda continue to evolve, especially in this coming episode 10 called The Trial this Sunday.
I think the show is so interesting this season, and to start it off with you being arrested in that first episode, it took everybody back. It was like, what the heck? Let me ask you about some recurring cast members. When you bring a Michael J. Fox or David Hyde Pierce into the mix, you guys have pretty much seamlessly haven't lost a step, and also the focus did not go completely onto them. It was like they fit in naturally. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit, how that comes about?
A lot of that is a credit to Robert King and Michelle King. They're our showrunners, and all the writers on the show in terms of these characters, and again, making these stories believable and interesting, and grow and change, and following and creating this world over the course of the last 6 seasons. And then it's upon the actors to come and make this material real and believable and exciting. And when you're talking about somebody like Michael J. Fox or David Hyde Pierce, anybody who's seen their work from the past knows that they're great actors. And so the kind of caliber of actors, thankfully, we've been able to get on this show because the show has been successful, because the actors want to come and do the show because the writing is so good. We get these great actors that we can work with. And both of those guys personally are incredible. Both of those guys are incredible actors. They're both legends, and that's not an exaggeration to say. So that's been pretty special for me to kind of get to work with that caliber and that standard of work that we're all trying to set with this show. And now I think the audience kind of demands after having seen that standard for 6 seasons.
You know, after 6 years, the people really kind of think of your characters as real people. That's great acting, and that's involvement. Even the recurring judges you have on the shows are familiar recurring faces.
They are. It's really been a world that we've created with this show, and again, it speaks to the writing and the kind of actors that we have had and the investment. You know, I mean, I think that, like you mentioned, season 5 in terms of that was kind of a resurgence for us in the show, and season 6 has been as well. And that's very rare for a show to be on for 6 seasons, let alone still having the interest that we have. So it really speaks to everybody who works on the show, which we have over hundreds and hundreds of people who work on the show, whether it be writing or post-production, pre-production, construction, teamsters, camera operators, everybody. So everybody's trying to deliver a standard that the audience kind of expects.
It's a tremendously high standard. Everyone is so interested in it because, I mean, like I said, if you've been following it from day one, you're so involved with the characters. I know our time's running down, but the episode is the trial, and you're signed for the rest of the season. I'm not asking you for any spoilers, but you're going to be around for a while, whether you go to jail or not, aren't you?
Thank you, and thank you for being such a great fan. My contract is up at the end of this season, and that's not a tease or anything like that. It's just that is what it is at this particular point, and there hasn't been any talks about the show not coming back or me having anything to do with that. So that time is coming shortly, probably in the new year, and figure out what part I'm going to have in that. So I'm not sure.
Well, we got to figure out the trial first. That's on Sunday night. It's the episode where we find out whether you go to jail, do the plea deal, what the heck's going on. It's a great research into the show. Good Wife here in the Valley on CBS 5 Sunday night. We TiVo it if we're not home. Continued success, and I hope big contract in many years because this story is just too good to let go.
Oh, thank you so much for your kind words, and thanks for having me on. I really appreciate that.